Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going to dive into some research on palm squirrels.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And their ecological role, especially on coconut plantations.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's this study from 2012 called The Palm Squirrel in Coconut Plantations, Ecosystem Services by Thoroughly.
Okay.
It was published in the journal Mammalia. And, there's this kind of common assumption that palm squirrels are just pests.
Right.
And this research challenges that a bit.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to kind of unpack the findings of this research and explore the relationship between palm squirrels and coconut palms.
That's good.
So for years, farmers in South India have believed that specifically the Funambulus palmarum species of palm squirrel
Yeah.
have been like a menace destroying their coconuts.
Hmm.
But the researchers, Chakravarti and Thayagaraj, decided to look into this belief.
Oh, wow.
They observed squirrels in coconut plantations. And get this, they found absolutely no evidence of them eating the coconuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
So then the question is, what were they doing in the coconut trees?
Right. Like, what were they doing there?
Exactly.
If they weren't eating the coconuts.
Right. And the researchers started to think that maybe the damage that everyone was blaming on the squirrels
Yeah.
was actually caused by rats, nocturnal rats.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like the sneaky little critters that come out at night.
Yeah, you don't see them doing it.
Exactly. So maybe the squirrels were getting a bad rap.
Right. Perhaps.
And as the researchers dug deeper, they uncovered this whole new side to the palm squirrel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It turns out these squirrels are way more into the nectar and pollen from coconut flowers
Oh,
than the coconuts themselves.
interesting. So they're not interested in the fruit. They're interested in the flower.
Yeah, they're actually engaging something called thoroughly,
Hmm.
which basically means that they rely on plants for both food and shelter.
Oh, okay.
So what makes the coconut flowers so appealing to them?
Well, coconut palms, they produce a lot of male flowers, which means there's like a constant supply of nectar and pollen.
Hmm.
And the structure of the flowers makes it really easy for a squirrel to get to the nectar.
So it's perfect for them,
Yeah.
like perfectly designed almost.
Yeah, like a little drive-through.
They can just zoom in, get a snack, and zoom out.
Exactly. And here's something else. After the squirrels were done with their nectar snack,
Okay.
they would groom themselves.
Oh, so they're very clean.
Yeah, they clean their fur. And, at first you might think, what does that have to do with pollination?
Right.
But this grooming is really important for pollen transfer.
Oh, so they're basically like little pollen carriers.
Yeah, they're like tiny little mobile pollen dispensers going around.
Wow, that's amazing. I never would have thought of that.
It's like a perfect example of how even small behaviors can have a big impact on the ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure.
And the researchers wanted to know what else these squirrels like to eat.
Okay.
So they did some feeding tests.
Like what they would prefer to eat.
Yeah, so there was the no choice test
Yeah.
and the free choice test.
So the no choice basically means they put the squirrels on a limited diet. Right?
Yeah, like a restricted menu. And even then, they still didn't go for the coconuts.
Wow, so they really don't like coconuts.
Yeah, they preferred other fruits like Singapore cherry.
Okay.
And they even liked the latex that comes out of fertilized coconut buttons.
Oh, wow. So even when they were presented with coconut parts, they still went for other things.
Yeah, they weren't interested.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, what about the free choice? What happened there?
Well, with free choice, as you might guess, they had a really diverse diet.
Okay.
It included tree bark, insects, young shoots, and then all sorts of fruits and seeds. So it was pretty clear that coconuts weren't their main food source.
So we've established that they're not coconut munchers.
Right.
But did the researchers actually see them pollinating?
They did.
Oh.
And to compare them to other pollinators, they did these field experiments at the Agricultural Research Station in Arsecure. Yeah, it was like they were putting the squirrels head-to-head with bees.
Oh, wow. Who won?
Well, the squirrels won.
Oh, wow.
They found that 85.7% of the coconut inflorescences.
Inflorescences.
Yeah, that's the flower cluster.
Okay.
So 85.7% of those visited by squirrels produced fruit,
Wow.
compared to only 66.7% for honeybees.
Wow. The squirrels really took the lead there.
Yeah, they were much more efficient.
So how are they actually doing it? Are they just like bumping into the flowers?
Well, it's more than just bumping into them.
Okay.
Their movement and all the exploring they do within the flower cluster,
Yep.
and then their furry bodies, it all makes them really good at picking up and transferring pollen.
So it's like a full body experience.
Exactly.
Wow. But did the researchers have any like definitive proof
Hmm.
that squirrels were the key to coconut fruit production?
They did, at another research station, they did the squirrel exclusion experiment.
Oh, so they kept the squirrels out.
Yeah, they prevented them from reaching certain coconut palms. And the results were really clear, the palms without squirrels.
Yeah.
They had way less fruit production.
Wow.
Only 75% of them produced fruit compared to 94% for the palms with squirrels.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
So it sounds like they really proved that the squirrels are important for pollination.
Yeah, they definitely showed how important they are.
And were there any other pollinators around?
They did see some other pollinators like bees and wasps,
Okay.
even some birds, but their contribution wasn't nearly as much as the squirrels.
Okay, so this research is really changing how we think about squirrels.
It is. It shows us that they're important parts of the ecosystem.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how common squirrel pollination is.
Right. Especially for crops.
Yeah. Is this a rare thing?
Well, there are definitely documented cases of what's called non-flying mammal pollination.
Mm-hmm.
For example, rodents are really important pollinators in South Africa and Argentina.
Oh, wow.
But cases where a squirrel is the main pollinator for a crop,
Yeah.
they're really rare.
So this research is really groundbreaking.
It is.
It's changing how we see palm squirrels, but it's also changing how we think about pollination.
Definitely.
And it's amazing that this relationship between squirrels and coconut palms
Yeah.
is doing so well, even in fragmented habitats.
That's right. It shows how resilient this ecological interaction is.
It's really amazing how much we can learn from these little creatures.
It is. It's like we're just starting to understand their world.
This has been so interesting. We went from debunking a myth to discovering this symbiotic relationship.
It's been a journey.
And now I'm really curious about the bigger picture, like what this means for conservation and agriculture.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about there.
Definitely. But I think we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll be back soon to talk more about the implications of this research.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we learned that palm squirrels are more like coconut matchmakers
Yeah.
than coconut munchers.
Right.
It makes you wonder if we've been misunderstanding them.
Definitely this research changes things.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the implications for coconut farming.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If squirrels actually help coconut yields, shouldn't farmers encourage them?
That's a good point. Maybe they should be trying to help the squirrels instead of getting rid of them.
Yeah, like they could see them as allies.
Exactly, like a whole army of tiny pollinators working for free.
Yeah. But I also wonder if there are downsides to having a lot of squirrels around.
Right, that's a good point.
Like, what if their population grows too much?
Yeah, they're opportunistic feeders.
Right. So even if they don't want coconuts, they could eat other crops.
Right, or cause other damage if there are too many of them.
Yeah, it seems like it's a balancing act.
Yeah, definitely farmers need to observe carefully and manage things in a way that considers all the species.
Right. Like it's not just about helping one species without thinking about the effects on others.
Exactly, it's all
Like
connected.
that butterfly effect thing.
Right, one small change can have big consequences.
And it made me think about habitat fragmentation, too,
Oh, yeah, that's a big issue.
especially with how much human development is happening.
Right, habitats are getting smaller and more isolated.
And the researchers mentioned that fragmentation hasn't seemed to disrupt the relationship between squirrels and coconut palms.
Yeah, at least not yet.
But I wonder about the long-term effects.
Yeah, what happens if the habitats keep shrinking?
Could that tip the balance?
That's a really important question. And we need more research to understand how these interactions are affected by habitat loss.
For sure. This is like a giant puzzle
Yeah,
where each piece matters, even the tiny ones.
and we need to figure out how all the pieces fit together.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, we've learned a lot.
We started by debunking a myth,
Mhm.
and now we're talking about a symbiotic relationship.
It's amazing how one question about squirrels led to all this.
Yeah, and now we're even thinking about conservation and agriculture.
It's all connected.
What's the main thing you hope listeners take away from this?
I think the most important thing is to challenge our assumptions. Like, don't just accept things at face value. Dig deeper and ask questions.
Be curious.
Exactly. Be open to being surprised, and you might even end up supporting the underdog.
Like the palm squirrel.
Exactly.
I love that sometimes the smallest creatures can teach us the biggest lessons.
Yeah, about how we're all connected to the natural world.
This whole experience has made me want to look at the world differently
Yeah, with fresh eyes.
and to appreciate the things we often overlook,
And to remember that every creature has a role to play.
no matter how small.
Exactly. Even the tiniest creatures are important.
And for our listeners who are feeling inspired to learn more, we have some resources to share.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Where can people learn more about palm squirrels and pollination?
Well, there are some great organizations doing amazing work on pollinator conservation,
Okay.
like the Pollinator Partnership and the Exer Society.
I've heard of them.
They have tons of information on their websites, even tips on how to create pollinator-friendly habitats in your own backyard.
So it's not just about protecting faraway places. We can all do something.
Right. Even small actions can make a difference.
I'm already thinking about planting a pollinator garden.
That's great.
And for people who want to learn more about palm squirrels,
Mm-hmm.
the American Society of Mammalogists is a good resource.
Oh, yeah. They have lots of information on squirrel ecology and behavior.
Okay, great. And now it's time for our final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, yes.
Something for everyone to ponder.
Okay. I have one.
Okay, what is it?
So we've learned that palm squirrels are these unsung heroes of pollination.
Right.
But what other hidden helpers are out there? What other creatures are doing important work without us even noticing?
Yeah, good question.
And what can we do to appreciate and protect these overlooked species?
Wow, that's a great question to leave everyone with.
Thanks. It makes you think about all the wonders that are hidden in plain sight.
It really does, so stay curious, everyone, and keep exploring.
You never know what you might find.
This whole deep dive has really shown how much we rely on all these natural processes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, even something like drinking from a coconut.
Right.
It relies on a ton of interactions between different species.
Yeah, it's a whole.
And the palm squirrel is like a key part of it all.
Exactly. Without pollinators like the squirrel, a lot of the food we enjoy just wouldn't be here.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to think about our impact on the environment.
For sure.
Like, we need to be making choices that support biodiversity and protect ecosystems.
Absolutely. And I think spreading the word is really important.
Yeah, for sure.
The more we all understand about the natural world,
Yeah.
the better we can make choices that are good for everyone.
Right, for people and the planet.
Exactly.
Speaking of spreading the word, do you have any resources for our listeners? Where can they learn more about palm squirrels and pollination?
Well, there are some really great organizations focused on pollinator conservation, like the Pollinator Partnership
Okay.
and the Exer Society.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
They have a ton of information on their websites, like
Yeah.
even tips on creating pollinator-friendly habitats right in your own backyard.
So it's not just about these faraway rainforests.
No, no.
We can all do something.
Exactly. Everyone can make a difference for pollinators.
I'm already picturing my own pollinator garden.
Awesome.
And for people who want to learn more about the squirrels themselves,
Okay.
the American Society of Mammalogists is a great resource.
Oh, yeah. They have tons of information on squirrel ecology.
Cool. And now it's time for that final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
The one we leave everyone with.
Well, we've learned that palm squirrels are these unsung heroes of pollination,
Right.
but it makes you wonder what other hidden helpers are out there.
Right. What else are we missing?
Exactly what other creatures are quietly keeping our ecosystems going?
Yeah, like behind the scenes.
And what can we do to appreciate and protect them?
That's a great question to think about.
Thanks. I think it's important to remember that there's always more to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Even in the most ordinary places, there's so much wonder.
Absolutely. So everyone stay curious and keep exploring.
You never know what you might find.
Well said. And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive
Wow.
into the world of palm squirrels and their role in the coconut ecosystem.
It's been a journey.
We hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something new along the way.
I know I did.
And maybe gained a new appreciation for these amazing little creatures.
Definitely.
So until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
See you then.